Hello people of YouTube land, my name is Steven. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for checking in, viewing. Hope you stay to the very end. This video is going to be just a simple garage tour slash tool tour. I'm going to be going over all the tools that I got here. I realized that I'm going to be making videos, and if I don't make this video, I'm never going to explain what each tool that I have does to anybody that doesn't know what tools do. But yeah, every tool that I have in my garage here, where I spend 80–90% of my life, has been collected from flea markets, swap meets, majority swap meet, Goodwill, garage sales, so on and so forth. It's not that I don't have a problem with brand new tools. Prefer buying them used because they're cheaper, and I'm very frugal like that. I don't know, I just like the hunt of trying to find tools. Anyways, I'm gonna give you a tour of my garage. Alright, so starting next to the water heater, that's the water heater. Right there is my junk toolbox. And I say junk because it's obviously not as nice as my Craftsman. Okay, so starting on this side of the garage, right next to the water heater, is my junk toolbox. I say junk because it's obviously not as nice as my Craftsman, but it does work. I mean, it's ugly, but it works. This one right here is actually my first toolbox that I've ever received. It was given to me by the owners of my first company that I ever worked for, which I was a golf cart technician. Down here, this middle one I actually bought from the swap meet for 20 bucks like 3 months ago. And that one I got at a thrift store for like 60 bucks. It's very disorganized. This is where I keep all my air tools. It's very disorganized, but I mean, yeah, that's my junk toolbox. Over here though, this is my Craftsman one, and this one is actually the nice one. So this one has all the sockets. It's very disorganized. All the little metal bracket things that hold the sockets, a lot of them broke, so I got to replace them. Just carry all the other stuff, like all the all the flathead Phillips, wrenches, metric and American fractions. This is the Jeremy Clarkson area, and I have a bunch of stickers slammed on there because it if it ever gets stolen, it's going to be very easy to notice. Alright, over here, starting to get to the good stuff. This is my Craftsman drill. I use this one for pretty much 99% of the projects. This one's actually my dad's, but he never uses it, so I put it in here, and I use it quite a bit. Right next to it is my Delta sanding disc. I only got this because it was like $40–50. I've only used it a handful of times, but when I do need it, it's very useful. And over here I got my Delta Bandsaw. It's pretty old, but it works. It actually doesn't have the belt on it right now because I messed it up pretty bad, so now I have to buy another one. And believe it or not, I actually got this thing for like 20 bucks. I actually went to go buy a filing cabinet, and the guy had this laying around. Asked him how much. He was like, take it for 20 bucks. I was like, I'm gonna do that. So yeah, it's heavy, very heavy, but it works. And as you can tell, I use nothing but the best stands for my tools. I really need to get a stand for that. Moving over, right next to it is the 20-ton hydraulic press. This is my first ever big machine or tool that I ever got. I mean, it's not, relative to other machinery, it's not big, but to me it was big at the time. This one I use quite a bit. If you're barely starting out and wonder what machine that you need first, this is it right here, hydraulic press. Down here we got my Ryobi Table Saw, and it looks pretty bad, but it has a lot of power. It still works very good. Right next to it is my metal brake. This thing works pretty good. I do wish it had fingers though. What I mean by that is when I put sheet metal here to bend, if I want a bend right next to the other bend, it's not going to be able to do that because it will just hit this piece. It's kind of hard to explain, but they do sell brakes with fingers on them where you can move them left and right. So if you want to make, like, say, a box, you could do that, but with this you can't. So yeah, it's kind of an issue, but I'm just gonna live with it until I get another one. And this is my tire changer from Harbor Freight. It actually surprisingly works pretty well. I mean, the only thing I don't like about it is it scratches the rims, but if you're careful, you could probably get away. Over here is my parts washer that I'm using for storage at the moment. Pretty much clean all the carbs that I'm rebuilding. If you could tell, there's the brush with the hose connected with a wire steel brush right next to it, and that little nozzle just to consistently pour degreaser onto whatever I'm cleaning. And over here we have my engine crane. I've never used it for an engine, but I have used it for a bunch of other stuff. It's actually how I got that metal lathe that weighs like 1,500 pounds inside, but I'll get to that one in a second. And right behind it, kind of hidden, is my hold on. And right behind this is my Woodward tube bender with a 1.5 inch die. Over here is just a shelf with all my other tools like chop saw, portable sanding gun, powder coating system that I haven't used yet, but I will be excited to use that. Over here we have my bench grinder. This is what I use for pretty much just sharpening drills. Down here I got my hydraulic kit. I don't want to take it out because it's all nice and packaged, but yeah, that one's pretty much the same as that, but it's portable, and it has a much more different variations of usability. Over here, if we just cross over the hazardous metal laying around, we come to the creme de la creme of tools here. This is my biggest machine I've ever bought and my biggest purchase other than my truck that I've ever bought. This thing was a pain and a half to move. I mean, if I haven't said it before, this thing weighs about 1,500 to 2,000 pounds, somewhere around there. But it is nice because I am able to do a lot with it. But this thing is nice. I mean, I've wanted one for so long, and everything lined up properly. I had my trailer ready, I had everything. So I just pulled the trigger, and it was a big risk because I didn't know anything about lathes at the time. Originally I didn't want to go with a smaller lathe because I do admit this one is pretty big, but I bought this thing in mind of growing into it, because if I bought a small one, then inevitably I would want to get a larger one, and if I did that, it would just be money down the drain. So I just decided to pull the trigger and buy something that I was going to grow into. Okay, so continuing on. Right next to the lathe, we got my Sandblaster. I love this thing. I use it to clean spark plugs, clean pretty much anything that has really tough grime on it that I can't get with the parts washer or just carburetor cleaner. This one I highly recommend if anybody out there does restorations or likes to work on stuff that's rusty or dirty or whatever. This is right here. But make sure you have this air water splitter. This just essentially what that does, it just protects the media from having moisture in it. The most important tool in the shop is the welder, the Lincoln Electric Flux Core welder. I admit this one is not the best quality, but it works. Although I have had some current issues with the fan, this thing works. I've done every project on this thing. We'll be upgrading soon though, because like I said, this thing has been giving me issues pretty much because I've been using it for things that it's not meant to do. But this one has been a champ. I'm never getting rid of this. If it does break down completely, I mean, I don't want that to happen, but if it does, I'm probably going to hang it on the wall because that's how important this thing is. So yeah. Okay, so that is my garage. Not really anything to write home about, but it is mine. They are my tools. I have collected them. They bring me much joy, and hopefully they will bring you guys joy too in the following videos.